rejecting the offer, I was very low. I was at a very low point because I felt like, okay, now I have to start again with the job hunting thing, right? I took 2 weeks of time for doing nothing, just processing everything, whatever I have gone through. That's when the ideas came. When I started applying for jobs, I have noticed that I have been applying without keeping any count. As many job postings as I have seen, I just kept sending apply. So I wasn't receiving any responses. Then I figured out a way to stand out. That is, this is also one thing that could help freshers is I'll share mine. You can design according to your skills. I share one post on domain knowledge, one post on soft skills, one post on I played different roles. When it comes to small businesses, you can't only play a single role, right? You can't be the only consultant there. You have to be their content writer, you have to be their content strategist. There are so many roles that I got to play, and you should either learn or earn, but more than earn, I had put my focus on learning. And it automatically connected me with people who pays for what I ask. So I would highly recommend to data visualization. Business intelligence is not an easy task. It requires so much analytical thinking, so much depth, right? So once you are at a position where you know the value that you give through data analysis, now we also have to keep in mind that the stakeholders, the investors, the people who are looking at dashboard are not updated. Few might be updated, but few still prefer line chart. Few still prefer tables to this day. So we all know we have worked so hard to learn Power BI, which is a very complex skill, but still. So first, before even trying to learn about business, first choose your domain and stick to it. If you feel like you are a marketing girl or a guy, you choose the marketing domain. You choose industry for it. If you like cosmetics and all, you can go for Nykaa case study, something like that. No, if you like Zomato, Zepto, or any commerce or e-commerce, you can go for that. So this is the mistake that I have done previously, which I don't want you to do, is
Welcome back to the another episode of the podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us, Bhargavi, also known as the girl with the blueprint. She is a data storyteller, consultant, community builder, and entrepreneur. Over the years, she has owned many hats, from analyst to consultant to founder. And what makes her stand out is how she blends business institution with technology to create real impact. She has helped people and businesses understand data in a simple yet powerful way, and she's also built her own brand, Viora Consulting. On top of that, she's a popular LinkedIn creator whose content inspires thousands of students, professionals, and even leaders to look at data differently. But beyond her professional side, she is someone who believes in self-discovery, building confidence, and creating multiple sources of growth, not just in career but in life. So get ready, because in this episode we are going to talk about her journey, her lessons, and her blueprint for success. Let's give warm welcome to Bhargavi. Namaste everyone, and warm welcome to another episode of Chaitanya Data. This is your host Chaitanya, and on this podcast we simplify the world of data and analytics for a growing audience. Today we have a very special guest with us, someone who has not only built a strong presence in the data community but also a brand that helps others navigate their professional journey. She is a consultant, a community builder, and the girl with a blueprint. Please join me in welcoming the amazing Bhargavi. Welcome, Bhargavi.
thank you. Thank you so much for such sweet introduction, Chaitanya. It's so nice to be here and spending Saturday with you.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine, Bhargavi. I have been following your work from a while now, and I'm really excited to dive deep into your journey and learn from your experience. So let's start with a question that goes beyond your work. So Bhargavi, the first question is a little bit different. If you had to introduce yourself without any job title, how would you describe yourself?
Well, creator, anything that I love doing, I just make sure that I'm creating content on it. Be it Kathak or books that I read or the mistakes that I have made, I make sure to create content out of it so that people out there could use help or any support.
That's a really interesting way to look at it. And your tagline, "Girl with a Blueprint," it's something many people are curious about. So Bhargavi, what's the story behind your tagline, "Girl with Blueprint"?
Well, to be very honest, I follow someone who is very close to my heart. Her name is Saheli Chatterjee. So if you see her LinkedIn, you'll find a headline called "Your Marketing Girl." So she is from marketing background, and she makes sure to have a tagline. So being a student of her, I made sure ki okay, I need to make a LinkedIn profile that should reflect her guidance, right? So when I was thinking of title as like okay, something that should start with B, because of course my name starts with B, right? So as like okay, what would in business terms what would the word go for tagline? Then somewhere between my research and test and trial, I was like depending on the clients that I have consulted so long, I have followed different paths for their business growth. And I have noticed that having a specific blueprint that goes for all businesses is not practical thing to do. So if you also notice girl with a blueprint, below the blueprint you'll see the exact one you need. So it shows that I customize the blueprint for businesses depending on their needs, their budget, and their vision. So I hope that answers your question behind about my tagline.
That's a great story, Bhargavi. It shows how you are always had a clear plan. And if you had to simplify what you do for someone who isn't from a data world, how would you put it? My question is, Bhargavi, if someone meet you at a coffee shop and asked what you do, how would you explain it in a simple words?
Okay, so in simple words, to be very precise, I would go something like I support businesses and aspirants to grow their vision, to bring their vision into reality. Any support that they would need, not data specific or guidance, career guidance specific, but any support that they need, I'm all in.
Yeah, Bhargavi, I love that. It makes a data feel so approachable. You had a diverse career path, Bhargavi, from community leader to analyst to consultant and now a founder. So, Bhargavi, how did you connect the dots between all these roles and make them a part of your journey?
Well, be ready to listen. The to be honest, three words that I'm gonna repeat because I'm being very frank here. When I started the chartered accountancy, it didn't go as I planned. There were so many attempts that I took, and between those lines, those years, I have realized that it's taking too much of my time, and I was stuck, and my confidence level was dropping gradually, right? And at a very fast pace with every attempt. So I was like, no, this is not Bhargvi. This is not the life that she planned for. So I took a pause. I started with freelancing, content writing. Saheli Chatterjee, mentioned, right? So I took her course. I started with freelancing. I have written few finance articles. And even though I was very passionate about writing, I felt like I'm not creating something new. I'm just giving the topics my words, I'm just using better words with the information that is available out there. So being creative person, it's hard to stick to a role that is very plain, right? Very repetitive. So I felt okay, this is the time for me to try something new. Now the trendiest thing that happened during lockdown was digital marketing, right? So yeah, I got attracted to that. I even purchased the course without any research, which I'll be talking about later, is not a good approach to go. So I purchased a course, and few classes in, I noticed that I don't want to be someone that grows other people's social media. I wanted to build something of my own.
Right.
So there you go, like digital marketing out of the list. Now I took 1 full year to pursue ACCA. I have a diploma in accounting and business. And while dealing with the last paper, which is business and technology, I got myself into data, and I got to know how important data is, and what impact it has if we just know few tools to make it a story, to grow our business. That's when, to be honest, data just hooked me. So after finishing my course, after finishing my ACCA diploma, I immediately purchased Code Basics Data Analysis Bootcamp, and I started from Excel to then SQL, Power BI in between, the most important tool, right? So I have worked on projects, I have showcased them in video presentation, and started giving interviews. Again, if you remember, I said that I started I wanted to start something of my own, right? But after working on projects, after having done an internship, I started applying to jobs. And luckily, through cold mails, I got few offers. For one offer, I need to go to Chennai, and then I had a factory visit, had a wonderful time there. But because my expectations were little bit high and it didn't meet the expectations of the managing director, I had to let go of the offer. And after that, rejecting the offer, I was very low. I was at a very low point because I felt like, okay, now I have to start again with the job hunting thing, right? I took 2 weeks of time for doing nothing, just processing everything, whatever I have gone through. That's when the ideas came because my mind was very still. I wasn't consuming any content. So the ideas came for conducting my own webinars, sharing my own journey, whatever had helped me, right? I started from digital detox and then improved my communication. Then I started building my own brand, like personal brand. And after that, I have been in this spiritual journey for 5 years now. So I made sure I create a program for every single thing that I did in my journey that has helped me become this confident that now I am invited to Chaitanya's podcast. So, yeah, after, as you ask, after launching my own programs and receiving such a wholesome and good response, I felt that this is the right time to start something new. So, that's when I founded my startup that is Biora, which means beyond ordinary. Rah means path. So beyond the ordinary path. My vision is to lead people and businesses beyond ordinary. Yeah, that is my journey so far. And podcast is like cherry on top. So thank you for that.
Yeah, Bhargavi. It sounds like a lot of your roles were about bringing this together. So, Bhargavi, was there a specific moment where you realized you wanted to combine business knowledge with tech skills? What was the turning point when you realized you wanted to blend business institution with tech execution?
Yes. As I have said that I have started my freelancing since 2020. I have worked with few small businesses, few clients where I played different roles. When it comes to small businesses, you can't only play a single role, right? You can't be the only consultant there. You have to be their content writer. You have to be their content strategist. There are so many roles that I got to play in past 4 years. And I have attended an event on March that was AI and Data Fest conducted by Code Basics. So I have seen people because I knew about networking and online branding. I made sure ki I do my homework and then attend the event. So you won't believe, Chaitanya, I wasn't even free for a single minute except coffee breaks because I was that prepared to network. So few people came to me who knew me from LinkedIn and they asked me ki how am I able to network and talk with leaders. So I noticed a gap there. People have technical skills, but they lack the domain
Business.
knowledge and
So,
mainly the soft skills, right? And if we could combine both, then you'll be someone who will just be the exception, right, in the market, in the job market. That's when it hit me that it's high time for me to launch something and educate people who lack domain knowledge. Because I'm from commerce background, it is easy for me to grab the business concepts. And they being very honest about this. People from tech background and from bio background, to them, even net profit, cost of goods sold, topics like these are a bit heavy. That's why I made sure at least weekly once I post on LinkedIn even about a single KPI. So yeah, bridging that gap gave me a purpose and for which I'm very grateful for. So thank you for this question.
yeah, Bhargavi, that sounds like a powerful realization. You have also mentioned on your LinkedIn that the importance of deep healing and rewriting inner dialogue. Okay. So, this is a topic many people are afraid to talk about, especially in a professional setting. Okay. So, Bhargavi, how has this self discovery journey influenced your professional confidence?
That's a very, very beautiful question, Chaitanya. Thank you. To answer this, I think I need to go back to my depression days because those were the darkest days of my life. I've noticed that when I was using Insta, it's been almost a year now that I don't have an Insta account. So when I was using Insta, I noticed something that every time I used to open that, I was very curious to know about other people's life. And as you know, Insta being Insta, we only see the highlights, right? Not the struggles and not the sad part. I was aiming to go there to enjoy my life to the fullest. But if I am not exposed to the reality of their lives, how am I supposed to upskill myself, right? So I have noticed that all few people that I have followed were sharing the highlights, and no one was even considering sharing the real struggles. And when I started my LinkedIn journey, I felt that I need to fill the gap. I need to be the person who shares the real deal here, the raw thoughts that goes in our mind, in everyone's mind, to be honest. Because at the during my digital detox, I wasn't consuming any content, right? During my data analytics learning period, I felt if I had someone who I could follow on LinkedIn who are sharing the real struggles, who are sharing the most uncomfortable thoughts that they go through, I would have felt better. I would have felt more comfortable to continue with my journey. So as soon as I finished my course, as soon as I started my LinkedIn, I made sure that my content is never scripted. It is pure and raw. Yes, I do use ChatGPT, but only for the structure and grammar. That's it. And I think this doing this thing had helped me made such beautiful connections on LinkedIn that I still am connected with, even personally.
But Bhargavi, you don't feel that nowadays LinkedIn also becoming a next Instagram?
I used to when LinkedIn has launched that video button, right?
Vertical video.
Yeah, exactly. I felt that, but few months back they have removed it. Just like
Yeah,
the
they have.
Reels button, yeah, removed it, and they made sure that it is a professional platform. So for people it to answer your question, what I would say is it depends on the content that we consume, right? I
Right. That is
consume the content that is in the written format mostly. So for people who do that, for people who have patience to read the whole post, it is like a gold mine. But for people who like instant gratification, 5 seconds, 10 seconds thing, then as you said, it's just another Instagram app.
right, right. But you don't feel that not about the LinkedIn algorithm or the LinkedIn adding the features like vertical video button and they have removed it. But the thing is that the people who is posting, they are not feeling that this is a professional platform. The people are posting Zomato review on that. Someone is posting my flight get delayed. You don't feel this is important on LinkedIn.
Well, again, to be honest, the post that you have mentioned, the kind of post doesn't appear on my feed. So it is very personalized, to be honest. I only check few people's posts. It is not even a double digit. So that's how conscious I am of the content that I consume. And I would suggest everyone to do so. Any person that you like on LinkedIn, you just go to the profile and hit that bell icon and turn on for all notifications. So only when they post, you'll get a notification and you will watch the content. That's what I follow personally, and it had helped me so much with content consumption.
Okay, okay, that is the point. So, Bhargavi, you use the X platform or not?
No, you will only find me on LinkedIn. That's it. And YouTube recently, yeah.
Have you gone through the Medium platform?
Not yet.
You know about Medium platform?
Yeah, it's for bloggers, right?
Yeah, it's for bloggers, right? But they have made the very specific things in that. They build that app very specific. For example, if you want to explore just about the data visualization, there is specific option about data visualization, and you have the option to select that data visualization. You get the post of data visualization only. Apart
Awesome.
of yeah, and very specific. If less people are using Medium, means I'm not promoting it, but I'm telling I feel
But
good about.
yeah, I'd take a look at it because it seems very productive app, right?
Yeah, it's really productive because they have set their limits.
Very, very clearly.
Yeah.
I'd check it out. Thank you. Yeah.
So, Bhargavi, at what you mentioned about the this digital detox depression, at what age of your life you get these words first time?
Teenage to be very specific, and few other personal experiences that I have gone through had made me to come to a conclusion that I am going through depression, or I don't like to use that word, but let's just say that I'm going through a very rocky phase, right?
Hustle phase, not the struggle phase.
Yeah, true.
So, Because you don't think that if these words like digital detox or depression you haven't seen in your life, what will happen? Means just imagine
Okay.
that age. So
I'm
you'll be not
enjoying.
part of, means I am saying if these words are not came in your life when you are using mobile, so obviously you are not be the part of this phase, right? Of
Yeah.
depression or digital
True,
detox.
very true. Okay, so first of all, I want to let you know that I'm enjoying this podcast, and even though it's first, even though it's my first podcast, I'm very excited by the questions that you are just shooting at me. So well done on that.
Bhargavi, what if tomorrow the LinkedIn becomes next Instagram? Then
I think I'll be able to.
you will switch another platform.
No, no, no. I won't switch to any other platform because the platforms that I'm currently operating are LinkedIn and YouTube, right? And I make sure they are as sacred as my intentions are. I make sure to post the content that I have value to add on. I don't speak about anything that I don't know about. So, whatever I preach is what I practice. That's why it lands people. That's why it connects with people, right? So I don't think I'll ever be switching platforms, no matter the opinions that people have about them. And I'm very sure that the people who need my content will find it in the right time. So there's no chasing or changing thing that I would go through.
Yeah, right, Bhargavi. Thank you for being so open about that. It's an important lesson for all of us. I think so. Yeah, so Bhargavi, let's shift our focus now to the core of your work, that is data and business also. Bhargavi, when was the first moment you realized that data could truly transform business decisions?
Okay, so coming back to my ACCA journey, I was studying business and technology paper, and I got introduced to words like big data and SWOT analysis and many other things that had conveyed me enough that data is the new thing today. Data has the power to transform any business. So, regarding that, I have also done my research about how Amazon uses their data and having following I actually follow business stories a lot, business podcasts. Even podcasts were a thing back then. They back some 2019 or 18, I guess I have been listening to podcasts. So I have seen so many business failure stories as well as success stories. And Amazon is the one business that caught my eye. Starting from a bookstore, offline bookstore, to launching a world class business, I was very curious to know about, what they did extra that had got them to this place. That's when I knew how they use their data. If you see few years back when Amazon has launched their online business, like e-commerce thing, very recently, they have been promoting other products, like products of other companies, right? But if you see Amazon now, you'll be able to find every product from their own company,
Amazon only, right?
right? Their own, I think for clothes, it's symbol or something like that. And for kitchen tools and
They have
everything,
made that word like Amazon Kitchen, Amazon Furniture, like
right?
this word. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had access to our preferences. They had access to the budget that we are putting in a specific product. Now, using those data, using such data, they have built their own products and launching at a price that we want. So imagine, we can only imagine what data could do to a business, right? From a bookstore to now a world class business, which also has own line of different products. To me, is a miracle. So after going through Amazon story, there are other businesses also as like कि अभी तो data में कुछ करना ही है. Then I got to know about data analysis, like data analytics skills. Those were Excel, Power BI, SQL, and Python. And I made sure that I do my proper research and buy a course. And I'm very grateful to have found Code Basics. Journey has been very smooth. So to answer your question, the turning point would be my third paper, business and technology paper, and Amazon story.
Yeah. Bhargav, you know that the who has the partnership of LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, sorry,
Who
partnership.
has the partnership of LinkedIn?
Uh, I am unable to recall it now, but would
It's
like to
Amazon.
know. Amazon? No
Yeah.
wonder I moved to LinkedIn also. They got the algorithm right, right?
We don't buy Microsoft, but they have the partnership with Amazon.
Okay. So good
Yeah.
to know. Wow.
Yeah. So, Bhargavi, the powerful example that you gave, thank you so much for that about the data work. It shows that data isn't just about the numbers, about solving real problems. So, Bhargavi, let's shift a little bit to the career advice for the freshers. Many freshers in India look up to you for a career advice. Let's talk about some of the things you have shared on your LinkedIn post also. In your resume story, you mentioned sending a cold email to a managing director. That takes a lot of courage. What advice do you have for freshers on cold emailing or cold messaging on LinkedIn?
So that's a great question, Chaitanya. Thank you for that. As my post says, every word there is a fact. Okay, every word holds true because when I started applying for jobs, I have noticed that I have been applying without keeping any count. As many job postings as I have seen, I just kept sending apply, right? So I wasn't receiving any responses. Then I figured out a way to stand out. That is one, being building your online presence, and two, cold mailing and referrals. So I started with cold mailing because at that time I was still building my network. Luckily, what I did is I follow two people's WhatsApp channels, Raghavan P and another one is Surabjit Basu. They have their WhatsApp channels for which they post job postings with emails. That's like a gold mine for me. At that point, what I used to do is I wasn't even checking Naukri or any other platform. I used to check their WhatsApp group, and if they had posted any job posting, I immediately started drafting the mails. I had few templates ready for internship, applying to internships, for applying to job, and also for follow-up mails to recruiters. So to talk about the managing director email, before that, I haven't said this anywhere, but before that, what happened is there was a opening in Blinkit for a data analyst. So at that point, before applying, I just checked their app. See, how is it going? Being a data analyst, that's what it leads me to do, right? I check the facts first. So I was like, okay, this is the app, this is the situation, and this is the user interface and everything. Now I compared it with another booming map. I won't name it, but another quick commerce app. And it was night and day difference for me. And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, there's so much scope to improve the UI here and so many strategies that we could use boost Blinkit, right? So what I did is, if you know Deependra, founder of Zomato, right? He shares his email ID very openly. So I got to know about his email ID. It's d@zomato.com. Yeah, it's that simple. So I got to know about his LinkedIn from his Twitter post or something like that. Now, sorry, X post.
Said
So
you not platform,
yeah,
right?
I just Googled him. I
Okay, okay.
Googled him and
You Googled it, right? And
yeah,
they got the exposed.
yes, exposed, and I wasn't even able to open the exposed, but I saw in the Google history. So I saw the email ID and I made sure to send him a mail, cold mail, as in. So my main intention was to give them the strategies to add value. The secondary goal was to get a referral kind of thing for the Blinkit data analyst position because I have already applied there, seeing the app after seeing the app. Now, the mail included three strategies that could boost Blinkit. One was to improve the user interface, which involved few mini strategies like slashed prices and different colors and pop-ups, something like that. Second strategy was to enter into the lesser known markets. Like I know a place in Bangalore where the other booming company, e-commerce company, quick commerce company, wasn't even operating there. So my second strategy to them was to enter into such markets where this booming company is not operating yet. And the third strategy was to go more on marketing, like the flexis and all, right? I'm unable to recall the third one very clearly, but the two things that I have suggested was to improve UI of Blinkit, and the second one was to enter into the lesser served markets by the stop the commerce app. Now I know it takes a lot of courage, but for me it was a moonshot. As like I'm not even sure he would open that app, right? open that mail of mine. I just sent the screenshot of current Blinkit UI and the booming company's UI to give them the clear picture of what's actually selling a lot. After sending that mail, within a week, I have seen the Blinkit UI blow up like crazy. And okay, here there might be two situations, right? Key one is they considered my suggestion. That is the best case scenario. And second is there was already a team that was already working to improve the UI. No matter the scenario, it still shows that I am very well versed, very well educated about the quick commerce market, that my strategies are implementable just like that without any huge investment. So it has showed to me that I am a market fit, that okay, I know to how to do the market analysis and stuff like that. So that's one email that boosted my confidence like never before. Both scenarios, I was at a win-win situation for me, right? Now after that, the managing director email, what I had done is I saw the posting for Chennai factory. I saw the job posting for business development intern, and I applied through Glassdoor. They had asked for an optional thing called cover letter. I made sure I draft that because why not? I made sure that all my curiosity goes through my cover letter. So I sent my resume, I sent my cover letter, and I also made sure to send my video presentation of a Power BI project to the company HR mail, which they had provided in the job posting.
Huh.
Now, 1 week later, I get a random call. And that's the managing director speaking himself. I was shocked to my core that how did it happen, right? So even before he had gone through my resume and my cover letter, the YouTube video popped up in the mail. So obviously, us being humans will click on the video first, right? And luckily, that video was exactly the one he needed at that time because I made a project for manufacturing company, and he was also the MD of a manufacturing company. So everything just got aligned.
Yeah, I want to ask you that what was that competitor company of Blinkit?
Blinkit, I shouldn't name that.
Zep.
I shouldn't name that.
Or Swiggy pardon. I think Big Bus.
Well, I'll keep it to you. Depending on the market, you'll be able to figure it out. Arams.
Yeah, so Bhargavi, the advice you share, that's really helpful for all the freshers. Thank you for that. Bhargavi, you also shared how a simple project video helped you stand out from over 500 resumes on LinkedIn. So, how can fresher in 2025 create something that grabs similar attention in the resume or in cover letter?
So, first I'll talk about video, and then I'll also talk about how to stand out in such a competitive market. Now, to talk about video, I have used all free apps. So, I used OBS Virtual, the OBS Studio app, right? So, I have used it for recording my PPT, and then I have used Canva for trimming the video, for editing the video, and I have used Microsoft Clipchamp because my speech was very slow. At that point, I was explaining as if there's a 5-year-old in front of me. So I went in with a very slow pace. But I realized that my project video needs to be under 15 minutes to hold the attention of people, right? So I used Microsoft Clipchamp where it gave me access to set the speed for my video from 1 to 1.15 or 1.12. Canva doesn't allow that, and Microsoft Clipchamp helps me there. So only 3 apps and a very, very, very courageous mindset is what you need to record a video. You won't believe when I say this, but I have took more than 70 takes. I think close to 100 takes. Yes, I'm not even kidding. Me being good at communication, but when it came to script, the whole project explanation, I made a script for it, right? And to deliver everything that I had on my script and my mind, it took me so much longer to just convey what I had in my mind. And took more than, I think, 3 weeks for me to record, edit, and then, present. I made sure not to use any video editing effects. Every effect that you see there is the PPT animation ribbon that you have, right? Those are the only effects that I have used. And I have seen people who create very good videos when it comes to video editing. Like they put this sound, they put these effects. Those are very good to gain the initial attention. But keep it till the end is the main task that I felt needed to be taken care of. So you can like visit my featured posts on LinkedIn and you'll be able to see my video there. And 7 minutes of my video is me explaining the business problem and the dashboard that I created. Remaining 7 minutes is me explaining the insights and recommendations. The biggest mistake that people have done that I have seen is they create only one slide for all the insights that they have gathered and a whole different slide for giving the recommendations. When I saw a video like that, I felt that I questioned myself what was the first insight that I heard before and what is this it didn't even connect to me. So this was the differentiator that I feel because of the engagement that I got is I made sure in one slide I have the insight and the recommendation. And second thing that I did with my presentation is I made sure I choose only three insights, three powerful insights and three powerful recommendations. So I kept the number very low, but I have took 7 full minutes to explain what importance those insights and recommendations hold. So the first thing on creating a video is takes तो बहुत लगेंगे बहुत यानी बहुत you have to be very patient with doing retakes. At some point, I had even lost my voice, to be very honest. Yeah. I know I can see your expression right now, but what to say? That was my determination at that point. So I skipped 1 week of practice. I made sure to work on PPT during those 1 week so my voice could recover. And after that, I recorded it again. So the mistakes that I have made that I don't want anyone to, make is don't try to record your whole video in one go. Gala ka band baj jayega, right? Never do that. So what you can do is you just take one slide at a time, have your script ready in your mind, even on your computer. It's good, but let's keep it real, right? Go through your script once or twice or thrice or as many times as you want to, but make sure you start the recording and explain one slide, then pause the recording. Doing so will save so much of your time because I had almost 10 slides and doing it in one go had took so much time, which I don't want you to do. Record one slide at a time. Use OBS Studio for recording PPTs and make sure you use animation for every picture that you put. And for every animation, I chose the zoom one. There's a zoom animation that gives the good effect. So this is the one thing OBS Studio and Canva is to trim where you pause and there are so many BTS videos that I have. I might post on my YouTube sometime. I just fumble words. I say instead of saying world like WORLD, I used to say word. So there are so many BTS videos, but what I used to do is I used to let go of it and then continue with my script, right? So that Canva will do all the trimming part and Clipchamp would do the speed setting. That's it. That's all you require to make a video.
Yeah, Bhargavi, those are fantastic and actionable tips for the freshers. Bhargavi, speaking of grabbing attention, a lot of freshers feel their LinkedIn profile don't attract recruiters. Okay, because their LinkedIn profile is too low. They don't fill up all the necessary options, necessary columns. So, Bhargavi, what's one quick fix you would recommend for their LinkedIn profile?
Okay. So when I just want to tell one thing that when I speak about LinkedIn, consider it as your resume. You make sure that there are no grammatical mistakes in your resume, right? And you are only sharing the highlights, the impact that you created in your projects and previous experiences, right? That much attention is required in LinkedIn as well. So coming to LinkedIn, let's start from the top. That is your profile picture. Make sure you are dressed professionally and you are just giving a small smile, not too much, gentle smile. And that is about the LinkedIn profile picture. You don't have to post it as if it's your WhatsApp or Insta DP, right? Looking here and there and flexing. That's not how LinkedIn works. You have to have a professional photo, right? Now, after that, your LinkedIn banner comes in. Your LinkedIn banner has to show what you are offering. That means the services that you're offering, the skills that you have for freshers. Because you have asked for freshers, I'm letting you know, key mention your key skills there, like Power BI, SQL, Python, Excel, advanced Excel, right? Make sure your banners states that those skills. And if you have done more than 5 projects or so, you can also mention 5 plus projects, worked on 5 plus projects, right? Using real time data. And this is about the LinkedIn profile pic and banner. Now coming to headline, I know many people suggest to include your skills in the headline so that recruiter gets your profile on top, but I didn't follow that. And the following tips are gonna sound very outside of the things that are generally recommended, but this is what worked for me. So I'm gonna share those only, right? Connecting the dots, as you have asked in your previous questions, that was the phrase that I came up with. As like, okay, connecting the dots with data is something that is explaining, like that is stating my vision, right? So I have just put it connecting the dots with data. That's it. That was the only headline that I had. So after a unique line, a tagline to be very precise, you can add your skills later on. But make sure your first headline should talk about you, talk about what you are doing instead of the skills that you have, right? So even if you see founders and few freelancers, what their headline is, helping businesses, growing businesses, solving problems. Exactly. So the first word should always be a verb, solving, growing, learning, like that. So that was the tip for my headline is that was a tip for a headline to have is something unique. Think out of the box. Even if you can't, chat GPT could, right? Yeah. Coming to chat GPT, never and ever use emojis in your LinkedIn profile. Please. That is very, well, I should be frank here, childish, to be honest. Please don't use emojis. That clearly states that you are a avid user of AI. And we should put our own creativity at work, right? So avoid using emojis suggested from any AI app in your LinkedIn post or in your cover letters or LinkedIn profile. Now that we have talked about the headline, now below that is open to work option. Again, it's highly suggested to keep it uh, open to work, but I didn't do that. What I did is, even in my job hunting phase, I shouldn't sound like I didn't even need a job, but I needed, right? So what I did is I selected open to work and then I made sure it is visible only to recruiters, not everyone on LinkedIn. So only recruiters were able to see my open to work tag. So this is something, because LinkedIn is not only for job applying. Okay. Now that is about the open to section. And after that comes the bio about section. Always and always try to keep it conversational. You don't have to sound very professional there. You can start with greeting. Hello, this is Bhargavi. And the lines below the hello should be something that you offer. That means your expertise should be presented there. What you can check out my bio. It's very plain and simple. It's what I do, what I have worked on and what my skills are. That's it. After that, to closing the about, I would suggest to have a call to action. That means DM me or I am open to connecting. It opens a possibility of getting more DMs and getting more connection requests. So this was about the about section. Now after that comes your education and work experience section. Make sure you always add your education, the latest education that you have gone through. No one needs to know where you have done your schooling, right? They care about the graduation stuff, the masters. Now, two would be enough. And after education, I think work experience section is there. You can use the work experience section as in very few words, but with the impact that you created in your organization with numbers. Like, I have done this project which was due on next month. You can say something like that. I mean, I have completed a project before 15 days and it had created or generated this much revenue. Make sure to use numbers. Being data people, that's our life, right? Member. Exactly. So try to use all the numbers that you have, the impact that you created. And I'm stressing on this very thing is because measuring your impact in numbers is hard. Even though you were in a very involved in a very great project, you weren't able to know the exact amount of sales that you created, right? Exact margin of profit that your project contributed to the company. So keep it a rough estimate, but don't oversell yourself. Don't try too hard to show the impact. You can mention the months that you have worked for a project. You can also mention, let's just say they have given 6 months to do a project. You can also mention that if you had done it within 4 months, that is also a win. Never underestimate your wins. That's what I want to convey here. Keep doing a project that was worth 6 months of your time, but finishing it in 4 months is a win. It is less riskier because we are not stating the margin that company had gained because of, right? Don't try too hard to get your work experience summarized in numbers only, right? You can also mention the positions that you have been, like starting from intern to full time. That is also an achievement, right? So that was about work experience section. Now comes the most important thing, recommendation section, which is way too underrated, but because many few people talk about it, right? Recommendation section is like more than referral. It's like being a CEO's daughter or something like that.
Like review.
Exactly. So it gives the golden ticket to see the final round of interview. It gives that, holds so much value. So personally, what I have did is when I got this Chennai project, I made sure to reach out to people who I look up to, my mentors, code basics mentors, and people who have seen me work on project, my Indian Data Club members. I reached out to them and I told them ki there's this project that I have been offered, and it would mean so much to me if you could just watch my video and give me a recommendation only if you liked my work. They were very happy to do it at the same day. To have access of such great leaders is such a privilege. You have to earn that. I'm stressing on this because I have earned that position because of the video and the efforts that I have put in that video, right? So, whoever you look up to, make sure they get noticed. I mean, make sure you get noticed, your work get noticed. They are just a LinkedIn message away. That's what I wanted to say here. If I had not asked them, I wouldn't have more than 5 recommendations in my LinkedIn today. Just because I did, now people see those recommendations and came to a point now that new connections don't even ask for my introduction, which I feel is a very good place to be in. And that is all thanks to my mentors, right? So make sure you do your work, you put your work, all that you have got, all the energy and time you have, make sure you put in the data journey because it pays off very well, even in a monetary way or a mental health wise. You will be in a very good position if you give time to your projects. I would have just completed my project and shared my dashboard link. I would have done that because that was the easiest option. But I made sure no, I want to stand out. There's no other option. And to stand out, you have to do the extra work, extra hours. And yes, while preparing video, you might also lose sleep. And I think it's okay for short run because the impact that the video presentation has is commendable. And to answer your question about LinkedIn visibility and how to get traction in your LinkedIn, right? New connections, new followers, and everything. To be very honest, that wasn't my goal. My goal was to show my work, put myself out there, come out of my comfort zone. I did it with no expectations. I did it to come out of my comfort zone, basically. But the things that helped me reach 3,500 plus followers is that I kept it real, very real and unscripted. I shared only when I felt like after reading this post, someone might be able to learn something. That's why you won't be seeing me posting every day, right? Because what happens is if I give myself that stress to post every day, I won't be providing any value. The experience that I have now allows me to post at least thrice a week. That's the maximum that I can do. And I have dedicated few days for posts. This is also one thing that could help freshers is I'll share mine. You can design according to your skills. I share one post on domain knowledge, one post on soft skills, one post on the data work that I do, and few posts would be on Sunday, and those posts are from the sessions that I conduct, the programs and the success stories. So in my head, I'm already fixed. Ki Monday, this post will I should post about this. There's no expectation there. I treat my LinkedIn as my diary, and treating so it helped me let go of all the expectations, let go of the numbers game, and put my heart out there. That's it. If you treat it as a diary, what do we generally expect from a diary? Ki wo fate na, right? Because it is there to just record our thoughts. That's the only expectation we have from diary. To just listen, right? That's what I did with my LinkedIn. I just share my thoughts very openly, and I made sure to use as less as I can AI. That's what I was talking about. We have to be able to use AI. I know it is the dire need of everyone right now in the job market, but we should also know our limits because we are here to connect with people, not robots. So, what I do to, as you can see, the engagement that I get on LinkedIn is because first thing is I treat it as a diary. So, what I do is I just journal out all my thoughts, and then when a whole para comes in, I give it to ChatGPT and I ask it to just correct the grammar and give it a structure. That's it. That's the only AI use of my LinkedIn post. So previously I used to take 4 hours to craft one post, one LinkedIn post. Now it takes only 20 minutes. So that's what I wanted to convey here is please don't fall in the trap of numbers, likes, comments. Make sure your content is real because that is irreplaceable. No one can be you, right? So make sure your content is yours, not AI's. And
Right.
the numbers will follow. They will definitely will.
Right. The more generic content you post, it will automatically get pushed also. I think so.
Yeah.
People love to read it. Sometimes of the people says that someone is doing mistake in writing the content. They are really doing the generic one content.
True, very true. Awesome, awesome point actually. The more real you are, the more real connections you'll make on LinkedIn. And I'm very grateful to have that community who supports me so much. And never had I gone through a single hate comment or a single negative comment. Every comment is very personalized for me because that's how personalized my posts are. That's the vibe I give. So that's the exact vibe I get.
Yeah, Bhargavi. That's a simple change that can make a big difference. Bhargavi, another common doubt for new students is about their first job. In your view, what's most important in your first job, salary or learning?
The answer is very simple to me. It's learning. The more you learn, the more you earn. This is the only thing that I follow in my life very religiously, to be honest. If you are not learning anything, then I don't feel it's worth our time. Any person or any work is not worth our time if we are not learning from them. Even the constructive criticism, even if you interact with critics, there are people who will doubt you in your LinkedIn journey, in your job hunting journey, and everything. There will be people and relatives who would mock you at your first salary. Obviously, they will. But do they pay your bills? That's the only question I ask myself. They don't, right? As long as you're taking care of your expenses, as long as you're learning, so I feel it's enough because you should either learn or earn. This is what I have heard about so much. You should either learn or earn, but more than earn, I had put my focus on learning. And it automatically connected me with people who pays for what I ask. So I would highly, highly recommend to focus on learning because knowledge, Lakshmi ka niwas hona hi hai. Jahan Saraswati hai, right?
Yeah, I think that's a very practical way to look at it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bhargavi, let's talk about the data skills now in 2025. You are known for your dashboard designs. Walk us through your dashboard design philosophy. How do you decide what visuals to prioritize?
So about dashboard, I'll talk about colors and the size a bit. After that, I'll go with the visuals. First, when it comes to colors, I know dark mode wale dashboards are at a hype right now. So the very underrated one is to keep your dashboard as simple as you can. You don't have to use all your graphic designing there. You just have to have a dark background, and then text, the numbers, the graphs should be on a lighter color. That is, if you can use a black background chart, in that if your graph lines are white, imagine the impact. Imagine, even from the audience point of view, you would be straightly attracted to the figures, not any other thing else, right? So make sure the background is dark and the numbers and text are light. The contrast thing also you can do. You can use the dark, that is dark navy blue, black, those colors as text and numbers, and you can put the lighter background. Anything is work, but make sure you use only three colors. Three is a good number. And obviously, because somewhere down the line, the graph goes down, so it's better to use red color. Except that, make sure your dashboard has only two colors, the background one and the text one. If you take a look at my dashboard, it's dark green and light green. And all the visuals are on white background with black numbers, right? So it is very minimal, what I would say. If you give it a rainbow effect, it would distract the viewers, which I don't suggest at all. The lesser the colors, the more impact the dashboard holds. Now, the dashboard, I would like to address the visuals. Which visuals needs to be highlighted, right? Before visuals, make sure you go through your KPIs. If you have net profit, gross margin, these percentage as KPIs, then you have to have a graph on the right side of your dashboard that is showing the net profit and gross margin percentages. Because as humans, we go through the content zigzag wise, right? We go through like this. So first we'll go through the KPIs that is on our left, and then we go through the right side one. Then we come to the left side down visual. So make sure you use this Z, right, symbol. KPIs on the top left, then on the right top, the graph or any visual that you choose for KPIs. Then on the bottom left, you use donut charts or pie charts. Less important visuals, but still they hold their value.
Well, you're right.
So this is one thing that I follow, and I hope it helps.
Yeah, Bhargavi, that's a great framework to have. And from what you have seen, what's the most common mistake being make in dashboard design? What are the most common mistake you see beginners making the dashboard design? As you say now about this color, right?
Yeah.
So apart from there, any other mistakes you saw?
Yeah, sure. Using advanced visuals, which are not required, to be honest, because we also have to keep in mind that the stakeholders, the investors, the people who are looking at dashboard are not updated. Few might be updated, but few still prefer line chart. Few people even prefer table to this day. So we all know we have worked so hard to learn Power BI, which is a very complex app to learn, like complex skill, but still we don't have to flex. We shouldn't flex. We should keep investors in our mind. We should keep the people who would look at our dashboard, who would actually use the dashboard. There shouldn't come a point where you have to explain your dashboard, because the very reason that we design dashboard is to avoid the explanation. So the numbers and graphs would do, right? And if you use advanced visuals, if you mix and match both the donut charts or something like that, it is very, very complex. So bottom line is, don't try too hard to prove your point. Basic visuals, they get the work done. Line chart is an awesome one. Line chart and pie chart, donut chart, they are good to go. But when you want to compare trends over the years for different companies, that's when ribbon chart comes. And for that also, you have to use such colors where you make sure ki one company has darker orange, then lighter shade, then lighter shade, then lighter shade. You can divide, you can actually use shades of same color, different shades of same color. Instead of using so many colors, you can do that. That would clearly differentiate the company, right? So make sure color mistake, so many colors, never gonna work. Stick with three colors. Second one is advanced visuals, advanced effects. If I should also like put it, don't go for advanced effects. And yeah, one more important thing that I recalled is every analysis that we have done, like top five, bottom five, everything, we don't have to put every analysis there. As I mentioned before, KPIs, का visual is very important, and any comparison of last few years performance, that is very important. Donor chart very important, but don't include all other analysis also, like month wise analysis. We shouldn't do that, right? Go only with the requirements of the project. If you want to put in the extra work, make sure you put it in your analysis, because once the dashboard is done, we also need to give our insights, right? Make sure you put all your time in your insight and recommendations, because we have to dig deep, and it doesn't happen just like that if you are using all your time in designing your dashboard.
Yeah, even for the freshers, I can tell that please, while completing dashboard, after completing dashboard, go through the spelling check. Okay, because some of they do the spelling mistakes also.
True, very true.
They get the raw data, they clean the data, but they don't check the first bar, because they have mentioned in first bar you get all the units and all the things, but they don't check. Means they watch the bars properly, but they don't check the spelling mistakes because it's a raw data. People clean the data below that bar, all the numbers.
Oh,
And
such an important note.
yeah, and because of this, the spelling mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Also, try to mention the unit if there is any needed unit. So with
Hmm.
that, notice by unit also.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bhargavi, that makes a perfect sense. Bhargavi, the storytelling is a very important thing. The story is what matters the most in our dashboard. If someone wants to become a good storytelling with data, where should they start?
They should start with reading stories. And when I say reading stories, I'm not recommending any fiction here, even though I'm such a big fan. But start with reading customer stories. There's a website of Microsoft. If you just Google Microsoft customer stories, you'll land to a page where every customer of Microsoft has posted their story, how the Microsoft tools had helped them, help their business automate, sometimes grow their sales, sometimes increase their productivity, because we'll be learning BI, which is a Microsoft tool, Excel Microsoft tool, right? So start with reading such stories. Once you read such stories, you will be able to know what impact our work has. Data visualization, business intelligence is not an easy task. It requires so much analytical thinking, so much depth, right? So once you are at a position where you know the value that you give through data analysis, now the stories will flow automatically. Whenever you want to share any LinkedIn post, you just record your thoughts as a journal, right? Now, for a story, what we're gonna do is, if you get time, make sure you watch MS Dhoni trailer. For every storytelling, that trailer has the amazing storytelling. So I'll just give a brief of it. What it does is, at first, it shows the hero that is struggling, right? Now, it shows a hope, that is their coach. Now he grows and grows, then he falls again. So, what happens at this bottom point is, either he wins the World Cup or he loses it. No matter what the outcome is, there is always a learning to share. So, we need to follow this graph. We can't keep it stable. We can't keep it stable, or we can't keep it growing forever. That's not how life works. That's not how storytelling works. So for data specifically, how storytelling could be used is, first you have to explain the problem that business is going through. That is the situation. Now comes the task. The task is us getting more than 6 databases, downloading it all, then loading into Power BI or any other visualization tool you use. So this is the task, right? S P. Now A, action. What action did we take? We converted the raw data into a good one. That's not the right word, but we cleaned the data, right? We had made few new columns. We have created new measures. We have created KPIs. This is the action part that we have gone through. Now comes the result part. Now, result part is where your insights should speak. What insights were you able to draw from all the data that you got, right? So it goes like situation, task, action, result. So star method. This is the awesome technique that I have learned and used in my project explanation as well.
That's nice actually. It's in simple terms, star method.
Star method, exactly.
Yeah, Bhargavi. Now looking ahead, what's the emerging trend in 2025? Okay, so for 2025, what emerging data visualization trends should students keep an eyes on?
Trend going on. Okay, there are two sides of it. One is the fancy hyped up and flashy trend, and the other one is the real deal. So depends on what you are interested in. No matter what you are interested in, the output will only come with the real deal. So the flashy one is I see people using so many visual effects to highlight their dashboard to make it top performing dashboard or something like that. But again, keep investors in your mind, keep stakeholders in your mind. They only need line charts, graphs, tables, right? So the flashy thing is using every new visual that Power BI launches, using all your colors, mix and matches, and trying to make a dashboard that looks like a menu or something like that, which is a very, very great work, but it all should also convey our analysis, right? It shouldn't just seem like a menu card and deliver nothing. It would be a false hope to the stakeholders, right? So the real deal that I was talking about is domain knowledge. No matter how much skilled you are in terms of technical skills, if you don't have domain knowledge, if you don't have business knowledge, nothing would be helpful in bagging an offer or starting something of your own. Again, to increase your domain knowledge to business knowledge, first choose a domain. I was from a commerce background, so it was very natural for me to choose manufacturing, product based business, and service based business, basically business, right? But people who are from tech or from any other background called biomedical or something like that, they can go for their own industries. They can choose their own domain. Healthcare industry is where bio people would add value to, right? And automobiles, cars, flights, or whatnot. All these electrical things and SaaS services, right? Software as a service. Tech people would add great value to such domain. So first, before even trying to learn about business, first choose your domain and stick to it. If you feel like you are a marketing girl or a guy, you choose the marketing domain. You choose industry for it. If you like cosmetics and all, you can go for Nykaa case study, something like that. No, if you like Zomato, Zepto, or any commerce or e-commerce, you can go for that. So this is the mistake that I have done previously, which I don't want you to do, is try all things that feel shiny. Don't ever do that. It will only waste your time. Choose the domain that you are interested in. Once you are done with choosing your domain, now explore stories. Now explore those customer stories I have told of Microsoft. That's the only beginning. There are many companies that post their customer stories, how their tools help them. So doing so, it will improve your business knowledge, will also put you in a position where you feel very good about what you do. Because solving a business problem is not a cakewalk, right? It requires so much work and curiosity from our end. One thing that would be irreplaceable in this AI era or moving on any era is our knowledge. Get all the business knowledge that you want to and put it into practice through your analysis. Like your insights and your dashboard should reflect your knowledge. Like I have mentioned before, only 7 minutes of my video shows my dashboard and my analysis and this business problem. Other 7 minutes completely talks about my insights and recommendations, the importance of those KPIs. So only when you are able to combine both tech skills and business knowledge, you will be an exception. And trust me, there's very, very less competition there in that area.
Great to know what's coming next, Bhargavi. Bhargavi, now let's talk about your business, Viora. Why did you decide to start your own consulting business, Viora?
Okay, so that's a great question actually, Chaitanya. After rejecting an offer, so to be honest, I rejected that offer impulsively without thinking through because I had a number in my mind that I should earn from a job, and the offer was lesser than that. I'm repeating it again. Please never do that, okay? The facilities they were providing were awesome, more than awesome. Stay, electricity, vehicle, car service weekly once to just get my groceries. So this is like a dream job of mine. But when I looked into the figure, the exact money that I will be getting in hand, I was not convinced with that. Before I was even able to analyze the whole value that they were giving me, because considering stay, electricity, food, everything for free, if I combined it both and it was more than my expected salary. So take your time, and I think at least one day is enough for you to actually evaluate the offer that you get. I replied within 30 minutes.
That was your first job?
First corporate one, yeah. Apart from that, I did freelancing most of my time.
Yeah, that was your first job. But as you said that for your first job, what someone is looking, they should focus on learning more than earning.
They should definitely focus on learning. But because I had to shift also from my home place to a different city. So considering all the scenarios like me shifting to other city and yeah, getting paid that much felt like a little compromise from my side. And only I'm stressing it on it again, only reject when you have more than two options to work on. I mean, except this job, I had my poetry recital in Hyderabad weekly and also Indian Data Club. So these were my core reasons. Apart from money, yeah, money was the one. I still am guilty of, comparing the monetary aspect in first job. But yes, apart from money, letting go of Indian Data Club, letting go of my poetry recital was very personal to me. So I just wanted to have access to those communities as well. So it was not the only reason that I rejected that offer. There were many. I had more than three reasons. And coming to your question, which is why I started Biora after my heartbreak with Chennai company, I still consider it as one. It felt like a breakup, to be very honest, because it was an impulsive one, right? I took few weeks. Launched my programs. They went very well, and I felt okay. I have been on this earth for more than 2 decades now, so let's just start something of our own. Why fall a victim to a very competitive market? I just wanted to start something of my own. I felt ready. I felt confident, and I'm very thankful for all the people who had given me this confidence, starting with my family, my friends, my LinkedIn community, and again, my mentors. Without mentors, I'm nothing. So, always have someone who you look up to, who are living the life that you dream about, because their advice is always unbiased and very real, to be honest.
And founder Bhargavi.
Yeah, right now it's a sole proprietorship, but moving on, I would also like to have a team and expand.
That's nice. That's an inspiring step, Bhargavi. Bhargavi, you have also mentioned building three sources of income. How did you start with one and then expand to three?
So, first one being my part time gig. Part time, as in, I perform recitals, poetry recitals. Every other weekend it goes on. And the first resource, as you have asked from first, right? So, first one is from my courses, from my programs. Now, there are five programs. One is Digital Detox, where you'll get 6 months access to me, where I schedule everything for you, all the tasks that you need to do. A proper no phone kind of environment goes on there. Second one is Art of Speaking, which is to improve communication. As I have told you, I noticed the gap between soft skills, right, and technical skills. Because of lack of communication, people weren't able to get jobs or land any offer. So, third one is Clarity Call for people who want to know their strengths and double down on their strengths instead of being a victim of their weaknesses. Fourth one is Become a Brand. This is completely for building an online presence. No matter the app that you use, I'll be sharing templates which you can use to post your content, also human content, not AI one. So, where I also provide LinkedIn optimization, resume review, and mostly establishing yourself as a creator. The fifth one would be Elite Club. This is for people who want to work on their traumas, work on their spiritual journey, and who want to just connect themselves to a higher source, which will allow them to unlock so many opportunities, unimaginable opportunities. Basically, to make you receptive and abundant. So these are the programs. This is like my first source of income, my programs. Now, second source, as I mentioned previously, my gigs, part-time gigs. Sadly, 31st is the last date that one part-time is gonna end. But this poetry recital will be going on every other week. So that is second source of income. Third is my business, my consultancy. And not only business consultancy, I also offer business analytics, where I use business data and then give them the insight.
That's a smart step-by-step approach, Bhargavi. Bhargavi, what about the personal side? Means I want to know more about the business or your brand. That what's the most fulfilling part of running your own brand?
That's a tricky and smart question, Chaitanya. So, most fulfilling would be to take my Monday off, take any day off, to be very honest, and meet your clients in person. That is the most fulfilling thing that I feel. We dine out, and even our dinner conversations are about business. The work gets done more faster compared to the online meetings, right? So, the most fulfilling part is freedom. I want to just summarize everything in one word, that is freedom. Yeah. Right now, I'm able to even take Kathak classes, then part time recital, YouTube, and everything is because of the freedom of time that I get by working on my own stack.
Yeah, Bhargavi, that's great feeling. Means also that part that I want to work alone and also the freedom you said that is important. I take the option Monday. But the thing is, apart, people actually see this part, one side of the coin, that is the freedom and all. But sometimes you have to beyond your limits. That is the another side. Sometimes
Very true.
you have to work on Sunday also.
True, true. Yes, I do. I'm openly admitting it. The freedom and all the dreamy things will only come to those who go through the nasty things. That means waking up at 6 a.m., even when you have slept at 4 a.m. This is like the hardest thing that you have to go through physically. Mentally, तो इतना जोश भरा रहता है कि बस अब करना ही है. But physically, we also get drained, right? कि we need
Right.
food and everything. There was a day I remember I hadn't even slept till 6:30 a.m. and I had a meeting at 9 a.m. So it was like no sleep for me. Yes, I have to put in extra hours. I'm not claiming working 3 or 4 hours a day here and then, enjoying my life. No, it is never a balanced life. But yeah, once you have put in the work, you are, how should I put it? Once you have put in the work, you are allowed to have rest. You are allowed to have that freedom. And generally, life rewards us for the hustle that we do. That's what I feel.
Right, right. You can relate that.
Exactly. It's good to know, Chaitanya, that you're also, working on something of your own. I have seen your work on YouTube and you're just killing it.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for the appreciation. That's a great feeling. Bhargavi, though, as you say about the philosophy things and the meditation type things you said about that, connecting with the higher power, higher
Yeah.
energy. So, the thing that relatable to student also. How can student identify their strength? Means apart from listening from their teachers or the parents or any of the friends, how can they identify self?
To identify our own strengths, what I would suggest is to get to know your weakness first. Let's just say that there's a person called X and he or she has a weakness in communication. But when it comes to technical skills, they are pro. Okay. So let's just say they are introvert but very tech savvy. Now, whenever they work on a project, they'll be able to figure it out. Ki, array, any business problem comes, I'll solve it. But when it comes to explaining such business problems and solutions, I'm falling behind, right? So now communication is a weakness which could be turned into a strength, right? It is a temporary weakness if I had to put it in that way. So make sure you first address your weaknesses. Among those weaknesses, categorize into two parts. One is which can be fixed, one is which can't be fixed. Like I said, communication can be fixed. If we put in enough work, we'll be able to communicate like a pro, right? But there are certain other things that people feel their weakness is, let's just say, introvert. Okay, I'm just taking an example here because I consider introverts to be very, very smart, and they exactly save so much of their energy for the right things, which is a very good. But events like networking events or any such huge crowd involved, they pull themselves back because they don't want to be in a social circle, right? So, this introvertedness is also a weakness which can be fixed. Again, how you can fix it is you can choose to be extrovert for a particular scenario, for a particular party or particular people. So, you become selectively extrovert. As per my experience, as per the participants I have seen in my programs, everyone had their weaknesses. Everyone was very open about it. But we made sure ki we work on the weaknesses, even if you are not able to position that weakness into the category of strength. We were able to get into a neutral position where they no longer identify that quality as a weakness. So I feel any weakness that you hold yourself to could be worked on. Quality wise, I'm speaking, because qualities, characters, personalities, everything is just man made, right? We work on it and we build those qualities. If you go for features, physics, and everything like that, right, which is very irrelevant to me, because whatever we have is enough. If you want to fix your I don't know, a posture or something like that, few poses help you do that. But if you want to just be 7 foot 10 foot or something like that, that is so stupid. We shouldn't waste our time improving our physical features. That's what I feel. If we are working on improving our character or personality, everything else just doesn't matter. To me, it's brain to brain conversation. And when that happens, we do wonders, to be honest. And yes, we also need to make sure that we have a minimum grooming, minimum like basic etiquettes of professional attire, something like that, as I mentioned in LinkedIn profile pic, right? Those are the basic things that everyone is capable of doing. That is fixable thing, right? So when it comes to weakness, I would suggest people to focus only on weaknesses that you can fix. Remaining, whichever can't be fixed, just let go of them. It doesn't matter that much. As much as the social media made it, I don't know, shiny or very important, looks and all, I don't think is something that gives you income, that builds your career. The character, the mindset that you have is what will move you forward in your career.
Right, right, right. Even though I want to share one example, I meet with one person. He's more younger than me and he runs the business. I share him some of my thoughts about connecting with social media and all the things. He just explained me the thing that in life, these devices or these gadgets are not that much important. You have to just follow. Not every time you have to follow the part. You have to just trust the process.
Hmm.
You have to trust the process and go with the flow what they decided. So I asked him one example, how can I explain that, explain me that. He said me he took his iPhone and just said me that within how many seconds you can throw this phone outside. I said there is no any second. I don't know what to throw.
Oh,
He just throw his iPhone within a 1 second, hit from 5 meters away. He said that this is what you don't want to connect with the this state of things and don't get much involved with this type of people. When
true.
you
Materialistic
materialistic
things, right? Yeah.
get materialistic more, you start overthinking also.
Yes, we do. Even I would also like to add on that when I started my YouTube channel, which is very recently, like last week, I was very concerned about the script that I had to go through, the camera setup that I had to put, the background and everything. But whenever I was planning on launching my YouTube, it's been postponing since 2 months now. So I was like, okay, it's high time. July bhi hone ko aa raha hai. When I would launch my YouTube, if I keep all the notions of society, how your YouTuber should look like. I was like, bhad mein jao. I'm not scripting any YouTube channel, video of mine. And on purpose, I have kept it unscripted. And when I say people, even my friends are shocked that I should made it possible as an unscripted video, because that's how I function. That's how I operate, with the messy hair, with the messy, not makeup or something like that. And
Real
yeah, that's where I feel like myself. And I have asked my friends even before posting ki, does it seem very natural, or, are you able to see any messiness in my hair or something like that? They were like, as long as you're speaking, we are not even focusing on your features. And that's when it hit me ki, what is stopping me now? Why am I focused on this materialistic aesthetics and materialistic features of everything like makeup, lighting, aura light, what not? Oh my god, so many things I have let go to start my YouTube channel. And you can, if you get time, you can also check out my channel, which is Biora. You'll see the most natural flow that there ever is. I mean, the raw version of Bhargavi is what you'll see in my YouTube. I won't post any scripted video. Everything will be unscripted, and trimming might be done, but editing and filters won't be there, because no matter the number of subscribers that I have, I just don't want to lose myself in this YouTube, right? I want to be the real me. And for that, I'm okay to let go of the materialistic success, that is, number of subscribers, the monetization, and everything. As long as I'm adding value, I'm good to go.
Be your to be real. That's very practical self-discovery method you shared with us. So, Bhargavi, if you could remove one fear from every student mind right now, what would it be? If you could remove one fear.
What will other think? The four dangerous words of anyone's life would be this. What would other think is one thing that I don't include in my dictionary. I used to, but I have seen effects of it. It was clearly impacting my career because of my attempts, as I have mentioned, my attempts on CA were so many that the scholar Bhargavi was gone. So, because I wanted to keep that tag forever, I was going on and giving attempts and not quitting, because impression jamana tha mere ko, wahi wala, the scholar, the topper, and everything. Because at that time I was very naive and I used to think ki I always want to be a good girl, keep everyone happy. So I cared about what other people thought about, but it got me nowhere. It took 3 years or more for me to realize ki it's high time now. These are my golden years. These are the years that I will have my full energy, right? Even we are like the youngest now. The second later, we are just getting older. So instead of me wasting my golden years on just a thought, just a fear of what would people think, seemed very pointless to me. And I reached to a point where I was like, I'm done with this. I'm done with making everyone happy and keeping the good girl mask on. I decided ki no matter what people think, these are the words that are kind of affirmations for me, from what other people would think to no matter what they think. I'm gonna do my thing, I'm gonna do my work. I'm gonna follow my passion, follow my curiosity. Passion is way overrated. Curiosity is the one that open doors to unimaginable career options. This is what I feel.
That's a beautiful message, Bhargavi. Bhargavi, what's one dream you haven't achieved yet but are working towards?
Kathak dancer. I am currently a noob in Kathak. I'm learning that grace. It's been only 4 sessions that I have attended. I'm looking forward to earn that ghungru, because, as my teacher says, you have to earn that privilege to wear a ghungru. I'm not even on that level. So, yeah, a Kathak dancer would be a very good title to have. That's what I'm looking.
Yeah. Bhargavi, what one message you wish every fresher in India could hear right now?
Why not world, right? Why only India? So every fresher should hear this from me, that nothing is impossible. And when I say nothing, I really mean it. Whatever you put your mind to, how impossible it seems right now, it can be get done. It is possible only and only if you have belief in yourself. The single advice or single suggestion that I would give is to have faith in yourself, to have belief in your dreams. Ki no matter how stupid your thoughts feel like, imagine me thinking in my teenage years ki I'll be launching my own program and I'll be actually teaching how to do a digital detox. Even though there are so many YouTube videos, even though there are books on it, I'll be teaching such thing. I would have told myself to just shut up, right? Because that seems pointless. But right now, I am actually earning from such programs. I am able to build a community where people are as curious as me, as willing as I am towards my career. One thing would be to have belief in yourself, and to have that faith and that belief. You can't just sleep tonight and wake up tomorrow with such belief. Daily you have to do few works that are uncomfortable for you. Like for me, joining a gym is uncomfortable, but tomorrow I'm gonna enroll in gym. I don't know, it still feels very uncomfortable to me, but I'm gonna do that because doing so for the past 5 years have me in a different category altogether. I wouldn't even have imagined myself as a founder, but here I am. And that happened only when I tried things that felt uncomfortable, very uncomfortable, if I had to put it, precisely. So belief is something that comes only after you take action on what makes you uncomfortable. So challenge yourself every day. At least one thing. Even lemon water feels like a challenge to you, right? Drinking warm water with lemon without any sweetener. If that's a challenge for you, do that, because that will, after drinking it, yeah, during drinking you might feel कि कितना कड़वा है, but after drinking you will feel कि अरे I did it. Little things can add up to so much big transformation.
Yeah, Bhargavi, that's a fantastic and hopeful message for our audience. Bhargavi, before end this conversation, I had made some rapid fire questions for you. Will we begin with rapid fire questions?
Should
Yeah. So, Bhargavi, you are a morning person or night owl?
I would like to put it, I want to be a morning person, but because of the work, I am a night owl right now.
What's the first app you check after waking up?
First app would be my I Am app. I use this for affirmations. The app's name is I Am. I Am. That's it.
Bhargavi, last thing you Googled.
Last thing I Googled. This is tricky. Actually, my history is off, so it's not visible. But if I had to put it, let me just give you the satisfaction of the last thing. Okay, my client's page is open right now on my one of my tabs, so that is the last thing.
Bhargavi, if your life was a movie, what you titled it?
Beyond ordinary, obviously, because I have chosen the most unconventional path that anyone can. So yeah, beyond ordinary would be the title.
What is most boring chart in Power BI?
Bar chart, which is not vertical but horizontal. There are so many of bars there, right? So I don't feel any clarity there. That's what I
Okay, then what is the most powerful chart?
line chart, no doubt. Line chart is the most powerful thing.
Consultant or creator, which is tougher?
Tougher, I won't say any thing is tougher right now, but let's just analyze the hours that I put into. Depending on that, you'll be able to get it. Creating, I put half an hour or 1 hour for creating a content. That's it. Consultancy, I put around 4 or 5 hours. So not a challenging one, but that requires more of my time. Consulting, yeah.
One word that describe your LinkedIn strategy.
No filter.
Nice. One word to describe consulting in India.
As good as it gets.
Generation Z, Gen Z's freshers today, smarter or lazier?
Smarter.
Degree overrated or necessary?
Overrated.
Indian work culture in one word.
The smarter you work, the more you earn.
Okay, and that's all the time we have, Bhargavi. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing such valuable slides with our audience. Your journey is truly inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you so much to you, Chaitanya, for inviting me as a guest. It is such an honor to be on a podcast of yours. And I wish you all the best for the upcoming podcasts and sending you good vibes only.
It was a pleasure having you, Bhargavi, actually. To our listeners, I hope you found this episode and insightful as I did. Bhargavi's story shows us that with a clear vision, the right mindset, and a little bit of data, you can build a truly impact career brand. Thank you so much, Bhargavi, once again.
Thank you, Chaitanya. And
Yeah.
all the best to everyone who is watching your podcast. Good luck to you, sending good vibes your way also. So yeah, rock it.
I hope you like this podcast. Please let me know in the comment which guests you would like to see on the podcast and any specific topics you would like us to discuss with them. I will try to bring those guests and ask your questions so you will get more helpful information. Before you go, share this episode with someone. It might really help because one conversation can change person's life and give them idea and new direction. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you in next video.